Well, hello, my name is John Watts. I'm an elder law attorney in Alabama and want to welcome you to our weekly webinar on elder law issues. This week, we're going to focus on the VA pension or aid in attendance, which is a remarkable benefit for veterans. It can pay up to $25,000 a year tax-free to help pay for long-term care. And one reason I wanted to just stick with that subject for this week's webinar, and I realize we're a couple weeks behind on the webinar, so we're going to get back on schedule here. But yesterday I had a wonderful opportunity to go to NHC Place in Anniston, and this is a very nice assisted living facility out in Anniston, and the administrator seems very nice out there, the marketing director. And what they did is they put together a community outreach program where I was there. I spoke about the VA pension. We had some folks there from Wells Fargo talking about sort of financial planning as well as long-term care insurance. And then we had a realtor, very good presentation about if you are maybe going to sell your house and move into an assisted living facility, what do you do or how do you do that? And so I answered some questions out there, and then we've also received some questions from you very recently here. And so I've got those typed up here. We've got about 5 questions. The first one is, on the VA pension, can I get my check direct deposited? And then secondly, where does VA pension money go to? Does it go to me or to the facility? And I heard I have to be in an assisted living facility to get the VA pension. Is that right? And then fourth, why does it make sense to sometimes get an accredited attorney to help me get the VA pension? And I think what they also were saying is sometimes why does it make sense to not hire an attorney, just to do it on your own? And then finally, and this was one directly from probably the last question I answered, at the presentation yesterday, was I was active duty from 1953 to 56, but I went to Germany, not Korea. So I cannot get the VA pension, right? Because that's what the family had been told. And so let's go ahead and answer those questions. So the first one is, on the VA pension, if I get awarded that pension, can I get that direct deposited to me? And I guess I should back up and let's make sure we're on the same page about this pension. It's a non-service related pension. So non-service related, it means it wasn't because I was injured or I contracted a disease while in the military. It's just I meet the requirements and now I need long-term care. So what are those requirements? Number 1, military. Number 2, health. Number 3, financial. So military is wartime veteran with an honorable discharge. Number 2, your health. Basically, it means you need help. You need help dressing, bathing, going to the bathroom, medication management, or just being safe at home. Okay. And then the third one is the financial. It's where we look at the income and the assets, and we either make sure we qualify or we do things so that we can legitimately qualify. So going back to our question, if we meet all these requirements and we get the award, can we get that direct deposit? The answer is yes. Actually, the VA, I won't say they make you, but they really, really want you to have that direct deposit. So that is no problem whatsoever, and that comes directly to you. And this really flows into our second question, which is, where does the VA pension money go? Does that go to me as a veteran, or does it go to the facility? And here's why it's such a good question. There's a lot of confusion between the VA pension, aid in attendance, and Medicaid. Because in a way, they do the same thing. It's money from the government to help you pay for long-term care. Now, the difference is Medicaid over here, as a practical matter, we're only talking about long-term care in a nursing home. Not assisted living, not having sitters come to your house, but in a nursing home. And that money does not go to you. That money goes directly to the facility. So it's quite natural when we finally hear about this VA pension, which is not very much is known about it. And people have a lot of misunderstandings about it. They don't even know it exists. You call the VA, half time you'll be told, we don't have any such program. You have to be injured or contract a disease in your military service. This benefit, nothing to do with that. So you think, oh, well, I guess it goes to the facility. But it doesn't. It goes to you. So we talked about in our last question, normally it gets direct deposited into your account. But if you don't do it that way, then you get a check. But it goes directly to you, and then you decide what to do with it. Now, the whole point of it, the purpose of it, is for long-term care. That could be care at home. So, hey, that's great. We get to stay at home. Maybe we can't do that anymore. So we move down the line to assisted living. Well, it certainly can help you there. You know, if you are in an assisted living that's $4,000 a month, so you're in a nice place, and your income is $3,000 a month, you're not going to make it. You got to dip in $1,000 a month into your savings. Well, with this benefit, if you qualify and you're a married couple, it's $2,000 a month that you get. So remember, you were at 3, but you're spending 4, so that's a negative 1,000. But if you could get an extra 2,000, now you're positive 1,000. So it's an incredible benefit. At home, paying for caregivers, in an assisted living, even in a nursing home. Now, if you're drawing Medicaid, then you lose a lot of this benefit. But you may be privately paying. You may have a penalty period to pay through. All sorts of reasons why it might be coming out of your pocket. And so getting that VA check can be vitally important to you. Okay. So our third one is, I heard I have to be in an assisted living to get the VA pension. So let me say this. An assisted living facility is the ideal place, sort of the classic place where you need this money. So you might be at home and maybe you're getting care for free. Now, if it's a child or a grandchild caring for you, we can arrange things so that you can legitimately pay them. Okay, the VA completely allows it. But when you're in assisted living, you're definitely paying. And think about this with assisted living. So go back to the example in our last one. We said we have $3,000 of income, but we're spending $4,000 a month at assisted living. Well, out of that $4,000, when you think about it, part of that is room, part of that is board, right? So you have a place to live, you're paying for that, and you get meals, you're paying for that. But that's all inclusive in that 4,000 or 5,000, whatever it may be. In our example, 4,000. Well, if you're living at home, you're paying rent or mortgage. You can't deduct that as a medical expense. We have other videos where we talk about what's called IVAP, income for VA purposes, your total household income, but then you subtract out unreimbursed medical expenses to get to your IVAP, income for VA purposes. Well, if you're living at home, you can't deduct anything for your mortgage or your rent. You can't deduct anything for your groceries, for your eating out. But what if you're in an assisted living facility? Part of that $4,000 is room and board. You can deduct that. So I understand why the person that wrote this question, they say, I heard I have to be in an assisted living facility to get the VA. I get why they said that, because it's such a natural fit for this benefit. But you don't have to be. You can still be at home. You may have a child caring for you. You can enter into what's called a caregiver agreement. Now, you got to be careful when you do that. You always have to look at Medicaid over here. They have certain rules. But it's possible to qualify at home, and most of our clients qualify at home. But then we have a lot of folks that are in assisted living. This is perfect. We even have people in nursing homes. So kind of this whole spectrum. We always want to be at home, then we want to be in assisted living, and then ultimately nursing home if we have no choice. It can be very beneficial there as well. Okay, so our fourth question. Why does it make sense to sometimes get an accredited attorney to help me get the VA pension? Well, let me say this. If you get any attorney, they have to be accredited. I don't care if they're licensed in Alabama, not licensed in Alabama. They have to be accredited, or they're breaking federal law by advising you on the VA pension. Now, they may be doing that without knowing it, but let's think about this. If you can't even advise people about this benefit unless you're accredited, if you don't know that as an attorney, then why would we expect that you would know how the benefit works, what you can do to qualify, what you cannot do to qualify, how it interacts with Medicaid? I mean, if you don't have that basic level of knowledge, I don't know how they would have the advanced level of knowledge. So if you're going to get an attorney, make sure they're accredited. You can check that out on the VA website, who is accredited in Alabama. But maybe the question also is, do I need a lawyer or do I not need a lawyer? Well, when I was doing that presentation yesterday in Anniston, I mentioned to the group of folks that I was speaking to, we'd set up a little video training website, and it's specifically for the folks I was giving that training to, but I'll go ahead and mention it because it's on my mind and I think it's very helpful, and you're welcome to use it. If you go to AnnistonVA.com, just www.AnnistonVA.com, and there's a welcome video. You put your information in, then you get access to 4 videos where we walk you through this whole process. And the final video is, what do you do now? Do you get an attorney? Do you do it on your own? Do you go to the VA? Do you have a financial advisor do this for you? And generally the answer is, if you need any help with your income, maybe showing that the income meets the requirements, and even more than that, the assets, your net worth. If you have maybe too much in the way of assets or net worth, you really need to be meeting with a lawyer. We see financial advisors giving legal advice, give this away or do this or do that. And just kind of cringe when they do that because they just don't have the knowledge. And they may have the best of intentions, just a great heart, but they're telling it wrong. And they also don't understand Medicaid. And I hear people, I mean, just recently I heard somebody say, it's illegal to give assets away. You can go to prison for giving assets away to qualify for Medicaid. That's absolutely false. You go to prison if you lie about giving stuff away. You can give stuff away. You can apply for Medicaid and say to Medicaid, I gave away $500,000. That's fine. You don't go to jail for that. You go to jail if you lie about it, okay? But there's a lot of misunderstandings about these laws. So any legal advice needs to be a lawyer, needs to be a VA accredited lawyer. Now, do you have to have a lawyer? No. There are people we meet with and we say, you know, you got $3,000 income and $4,000 a month in unreimbursed medical expenses, and you have $20,000 in assets. You don't need us. You know, you can go to a veteran service organization, American Legion, VFW, whoever it may be, go to your county VA officer. They can help you. But my suggestion is don't go to those folks if you have more than $80,000. If you're needing to transfer assets, do you give it to your kids? You put in a trust? You buy a special type of annuity? What do? You need to come to a lawyer for that, okay? Because we can look at the whole picture, and I usually illustrate this way. If we have one eye on VA, we got to have another eye on Medicaid, and nobody wants Medicaid. Nobody wakes up in the morning and says, yes, I get to go to a nursing home today. Nobody does that. But nursing homes are full of people in there who do not want to be there, but they have to be there because you need skilled nursing. So we can't just say, oh, there's no way I'll need Medicaid nursing home. No, so if we do anything for the VA, we have to look over here and say, how does this fit with Medicaid? And what's my plan to coordinate these two things if I have to? So that's my suggestion for you. And again, you're welcome to go to that AnnistonVA.com and look at those videos. And there's also a workbook that comes with a lot of materials. We'll send you on that. Final question. I was active duty in 1953 through 56 and went to Germany, not Korea. So I can't get the VA pension, right? This is where a lot of misunderstanding. Go back to our 3 requirements: military, health, financial. What's the military requirement? You have to be a wartime veteran. Well, what does that mean? It means you have an honorable discharge or a better than dishonorable discharge. But what does wartime mean? It means active duty during a time of war. So see, this person, they said, well, I was in there from 53 to 56. Okay, that's during the Korean War. But they said, no, I went to Germany. So I wasn't in combat. I wasn't where the battles were being fought. It doesn't matter. Active duty during a time of war. What's a time of war? Well, World War II, we started off at the beginning of the war and we go to the end of 46. Korea is about 50 to the first part of 55. What about Vietnam? 64 to 75. A little bit longer period if we were actually in country. And here's something that most people don't know. We have been in a constant state of war for the longest period of time ever in our history. 25 years. 1990 to today, the Gulf War. 25 years of being in a state of war. Anybody active duty. There's a few requirements, how long you have to be active duty. We can get into those details later. But active duty, World War II, Korea, Vietnam, Gulf War, doesn't matter if you're stationed, I was just in Anniston. Are you stationed in Anniston? Are you in Georgia? Are you in Arizona? Where are you? It doesn't matter. Okay, you can be at the North Pole. Active duty during a time of war. You qualify under that military requirement. If you have a question about your dates, you can get something. It's a kind of a form, piece of paper from the government, DD 214. And if you don't have that, or maybe you're watching this for a parent or an aunt, uncle, if they don't have it, then we've set up a little link. It'll take you directly to the page you need at the government website. It's called getmydd214.com. So get G-E-T, my, M-Y, D-D, so it's D as in David, D as in David, 214.com. It'll just take you right to that link, and you can see phone numbers, a little form you can fill out, or PDF you can do. So you can get that, and that'll tell you, because once you get that form, it'll say, here's when you went into the service, here's when you left, here's your type of discharge that you have. So very valuable to have that if you're even remotely thinking about this benefit. But please understand, you do not have to be in combat. So many people believe that. And I think well-meaning, well-intentioned folks at the VA tell people that, and they just don't understand. This benefit, you do not have to be in combat. It's not a combat benefit. It's a benefit for anyone active duty during a time of war. So I hope that this webinar has been helpful to you, and we appreciate your questions. You can put them as a comment below this video. You can go to alabamaelderlawyer.com. You can call us, 205-879-2447. Have a lot of information we can share with you if you are in Alabama or you're calling about somebody in Alabama. And you're also welcome to go to that little website. Again, we set up for the folks in Anniston, but it applies anywhere. AnnistonVA.com, and get the workbook. Make sure you check your email to get the workbook, and then go through those 4 videos. I want to say there may be 30 minutes total. Yeah, I think one may be 10 or 12 minutes, maybe even 20 minutes, because that's where we're talking about the financial requirement. Remember, that's the 3rd requirement, because there's so much information about that. How do you calculate income? How do you calculate assets? What counts? What doesn't count? Can you transfer? Is there a penalty period? What about this change in the law that's coming from the VA? Or maybe it's coming. Who knows if it's coming? When is it coming? We talk about all that in those videos. So I appreciate your questions. As long as you keep sending in questions, we'll keep doing these webinars, and we'll be happy to continue to do these. And hope you have a great weekend, and I will see you next week. Okay, have a good one. Bye-bye.